bonjour, presque bonsoir.
Good evening to all and welcome to the UGC Theatre for this new exceptional session of Série MANIA Lille. We are very happy to welcome a guest whom we invited for a very long time, and this year at last she said yes. She's a very well-known actress for Nordic films. We will come back on that. The bridge has been seen all around the world. And to moderate this masterclass, I will now welcome one remarkable blogger of series in the world series. He's also the author of a book on Nordic series called The Empire of Melancholy. His name is Pierre Sérisier. And with no further ado, our honor guest, Sofia Helin.
Hi, everybody.
Bonsoir, je vais juste parler en français.
I'll speak in French for just a few sentences and then I'll switch to English for our interview. I guess that you have translation headsets if necessary.
Proud, honored, and very pleased to welcome Sofia Helin. She's here tonight with us, and it's a very exceptional moment for us, as she's a great actress, not only in her country, which is Sweden, but also almost all around the world. She is known worldwide. Can we say that? Yeah, I mean, the bridge was broadcast in about 100 countries. So. First thing, when I was working on this meeting, first thing I did is obviously I Googled you. I'm sorry, but I did. I've read you were born in Hovsta. Yeah. Yes, Hovsta, which is kind of a village about 150 kilometers west of Stockholm. You studied philosophy at the university in Lund. And you started theater studies in the mid-90s, and you graduated from the Royal Academy of Theatre in Stockholm in 2001. And you featured in many movies. The last one I've seen is The Snowman, which is from a Joe Nesbø book with Michael Fassbender, Charlotte Gainsbourg, J.K. Simmons, Val Kilmer, and Chloe Sevigny, and yourself. Last year you were also featuring in a German TV show named The Same Sky, which takes place in Berlin during the 70s. If I'm right, you started on television back in 1997 in a soap opera titled Rediret.
Yeah, it's about a boat.
It's a kind of like a Love Boat, the TV show or something?
Not Love Boat, but a little bit like that.
Okay,
yeah,
and it was very famous in Sweden.
Yes,
it was broadcast for about 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you joined the Bridge show by the end of the years 2000, and you spent almost 10 years of your life playing Saga Norén. I must apologize first to everybody for those who have not seen the first 3 seasons of The Bridge. I'm very sorry, but we will have to, spoil you. And we cannot avoid that. We have to show clips, and we are going to talk about the first 3 seasons of the show. We are not going into the 4th season, which is screening tomorrow. So you're welcome to go to see the first 2 episodes of season 4 tomorrow. The Bridge it was created by Hans Rosenfeld. He's a writer and a producer, and he likes strong female character, because he has another show now in Great Britain, which is called Marcella, with actress Anna Friel, and I can recommend you to watch Marcella, which is a pretty good show. Bron, The Bridge, was a huge success from almost the very beginning. Just like I said, it was broadcast in about 100 countries all around the world. It triggered 2 remakes, one in French and Britain called Tunnel. Yes,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think it's even
more.
I think it's 4 going on. I think we have one in between Estonia,
yes,
Russia.
Exactly. And one is coming with
Malaysia
and Singapore.
Yeah,
I think
yeah. So it's getting more and more sagas all over the world.
And the second one was called also The Bridge, at the border between the United States and Mexico, and with featuring Jan Kruger. And so you're playing Saga Norén. She's an investigator for the criminal unit of Malmö police. I would love you to tell me once again Saga Norén, Landskrim Malmö. Can you do that for me?
Saga Norén, Landskrim Malmö.
I love this. Before coming to watch a clip, I just have a question: how this tremendous character was born? Can you recall us? Tell us how it happened.
Yeah, I got the script by Hans, the writer, and he just said, "This is a woman who is a very good police officer, but she cannot do anything when it comes to social skills. So she's just unable to interact with other people." So and then me and the director started saying, "Oh, maybe she's a bit autistic or has Asperger's." So we started studying that, and it was for me as a private person, I'm very much the opposite, I think, or hope, but and for me then it was like jumping into a completely unknown area. Yeah, so I just had to study it, and I went out in the streets trying to be like her, and what I realized quite soon was the amount of loneliness you feel when you cannot connect to other people. So I pretty soon understood she's very lonely. And then it was just to dive into her and try to follow her through the series.
What did attracted you in this character? The first time you read the script, what did you tell yourself? Why did you decide to say, yes, I'm going to do this?
I was very skeptical to begin with, because we just had the great success with the Millennium series with Lisbeth Salander. And I thought, are they trying to do something similar? Because I didn't want to do that, of course. And but then I met with Hans and with the Kim Boddia, my colleague, and with the director, and I saw that they had another ambition and that there was room to experiment. And then I got interested. And she irritated me incredibly much to begin with.
Is there any? That's interesting. You're saying that Millennium, the series, was a success at the time they created the Bridge. Is there any similarities between Saga Norén and Lisbeth Salander, or they are totally different people?
There is similarity that they both have Asperger's, and that they are very lonely. So I guess they are kind of related. But I don't think Hans, they didn't create the character thinking about her, because this was a project that was going on for quite a while before it realized. So, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of crime, Scandinois, and Scandinavian crime fiction. I've read a lot for a very long time now, and I have this feeling that this literature is filled with male characters, tormented men, but not so much with female characters, which have this characteristic, being tormented, being lonely. And do you think Saga is somewhat a unique character?
I think we see that more and more now, that we have strong female characters. But what was new with both Lisbeth Salander, with my character, with Saga Lund in The Killing, was that there were really unpleasant women from time to time, and complex women, and people who you wouldn't understand at first sight. So I think they kind of created a room for more complex characters in general in the business.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah, of course it is. We're tired of seeing one-dimensional women on screen. I can't have that anymore, at least.
The starting point is a body found on the border between the two countries, Denmark and Sweden, and upper part of the body is on the Sweden side, and the lower part of the body is on the Danish side. So what do we do? So there is only one answer, which is we have to cooperate. So Malmö sent Saga Norén to investigate, and Copenhagen sent Martin Rode to investigate, and the two of them gonna make a team, a man and a woman, just to find a killer, and which they eventually gonna catch by the very end of the season. And the first thing we realize with this clip is that Saga Norén is a very good and efficient cop. Why is she so good at what she's doing?
Before we started the first season, I had a meeting with a real police officer, and I asked him how would she really could you have a person like that in an office? Could you work together with her? And I explained to him her skills, that she's really good at statistics, logistics, all of those kind of things. And he said, that's exactly what I'm looking for at with my colleagues. I need police officers who are very precise, very into details, very concrete and pragmatic. But, he said, she would be a pain in the ass in the coffee room. So, and it's hard work being a police officer. So we really need to work together and to support each other. So it would be a problem, he said. But I think I can see her since I know all her story now. I can see that I don't know her story yet, because I didn't know what would happen to her when I started playing her. So and I know now why she's a police officer and why she's so good at it, but I didn't know that by then. That's a very strange way of working.
She's very rational. I mean, does she have any, police instinct, or is she just doing things by the book? And what makes her efficient is that this rationality.
There's something in her background that haunts her all the time, and I think that makes her want to do it right. She wants to sort it out once and for all, and that she's kind of responsible for, since she has had that terrible childhood with a mother who suffers from a terrible dysfunctional condition. She has had this need and must of solving things and sorting things out, that it's kind of her responsibility.
It reassures her, it comforts her in some ways. And she's all about her job. I mean, she has no limit when it comes to her job. She would do anything to catch the killer. Does it give her own identity? Does she draw her identity from her job, or is she more or less someone else outside the job?
But that's exactly what the fourth season that's going to be screened tomorrow is all about. It's about identity and about who am I when I'm not. If you're very much into your work, who are you when you're not that person who works all the time? Who are you? Are you anything? Or so that's a very interesting question.
I chose this clip because, you know, the body went into two different parts, so it was cut in the middle. And you have Saga watching the body cut into two halves. And you can feel, by the way she looks at the body, that there is something inside her which is cut in two halves too. There is maybe two people in her, would you say?
Maybe. I thought a lot about why I was casted to this part, because we are so much we are not so alike. And I think that's a good casting, while I'm... so that's probably what you see, that I have myself within also when I'm her. Yeah.
Why is she such a pain in the ass for her colleague? What she cannot stand with them?
What they can't stand with her, you mean?
Oh,
she can't stand them just when they're not cheating or being lazy.
Yes.
Then she can't stand them, but otherwise she can stand them. But there are so many things they do that are totally meaningless to Saga, like going to have a coffee or chatting or, you know, what is that? Why? Well, nothing happens. What comes out of that? Nothing. So that's something she doesn't understand, and that she can hear at other people's voices that they are a bit angry with her, but she can't get it why they are angry. So she's very insecure all the time. Because I think it's a bit like being blind. I mean, because you can't see the expression of the face.
And there's something she hates above all, which is lies. She cannot stand lies. That's beyond her understanding, I guess. She doesn't understand why people do lie. And where does this come from? Where does
in her
this
life?
hate?
Yeah, it comes from her childhood, of course. She's been a witness, what is it called? When you watch somebody lying to someone else.
Witness.
A witness, thank you. She's been a witness to somebody who's been lying all the time, constantly, because her mother has this condition where she makes her sister sick in order to be a very poor, or you know, a person who you should pity a lot. And then Saga sees that, and she understands it, that's what she's doing, but she's unable to stop it, and it kills her sister. So it's a deep, deep wound inside of her, and a mystery, I think, to her. A lie is a mystery.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
The thing is, just if you haven't seen the show, the serial killer is the guy on the bridge, and actually he was a former colleague of Martin, and he wanted to take revenge over Martin. And what he did, he kidnapped his son, Martin's son, August, and he killed him actually. And so we are at the climax of a season, and Saga has to lie first to avoid him making a huge mistake, and actually she cannot lie. How would you describe her relationship with Martin? How the two of them get along together?
Yeah, I think he's the first one she ever met who confronts her with interest and humor, because he laughs at her. Rather, he's not laughing at her; he's laughing with her, but yeah, he's warm, so he's not judging her. He's more like he's standing her, and I think that's new for her, and it gives her courage to try to connect with people again, because I think that's what happens when you get very lonely, that you try it for a while and then it hurts too much and you give up, and then you must try again, because that's what life is about, isn't it? So he makes her wants to try it again.
I guess he brings some life back into her.
Yeah.
He make her feel a bit more comfortable or easygoing? Or?
And he tries to teach her how to, he says to her, you know, you have to small talk a little bit, like say, hi, how are you doing? Or to say to your colleagues, well, good job, well done, and, you know, such things. So he's very, very helpful for her.
At first, she does not understand what he's saying. I mean, having small talks and, you know, having normal relationship with other people. And it teaches her in some way to be less socially awkward. And he's also a good cop. He's efficient, even if sometimes he's, you know.
Is who a good cop?
Martin.
Martin. Oh.
Did you say that?
We talked about that a lot, that he was doing a lot of other things than working.
Yes.
Yes.
He spends a lot of time with women.
Yes. But I guess that's what happens when you have an addiction or a disorder in that sense. It takes time. So you have to be... But he's smart, so they worked good together. Since she can work all day, every day, day and night, he doesn't. They are a good couple in that sense.
Yes,
that he has the skills that she doesn't have.
Yes, exactly. And she's more focused and rational. So they really do a very good team together. They are very they are fitting well the one with the other. I've read somewhere that Saga was more designed along the let's say Swedish temperament or characteristic, and Martin was more along the Danish joyful temperament. Would you say that that's right, or?
I don't know if that's the way it's written to begin with, because we have a thing between Denmark and Sweden that they think we are hopelessly politically correct and very like a bit boring and strict and like stiff upper lip, and we think they are irresponsible, lazy drinks. They drink a lot, and they have a thing that they mean that we can say whatever we want. If I say a racistic thing, I'm allowed to say that. They are like that, and we are a bit more politically correct. So that's our picture of each other. But I don't think the writer wanted that to be in focus. So we did a little bit of that, but not too much. And I think the reason why I think the show to begin with was written for the Martin character, and his problem is so focused with the family and relationships. So they took the other character, the woman, they wanted to do her to his opposite. So that became an interesting mixture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I read somewhere Saga was supposed to die by the end of the first season. Yeah. Actually, we saw her limping on the bridge. So actually, she was shot twice during an encounter with a serial killer. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
I didn't know that before the shooting started. So that she was supposed to die. Someone just told me, like a couple of years ago, do you know you were meant to die the first season, but we changed our mind.
Which was a great idea to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Can we move to also a relationship with another male figure, which is Hans, who is her boss? There is a scene, I think it's in the third episode of the first season. Hans and Saga were talking together in the police room, and there is some kind of a misunderstanding where you see that she can't put herself into the mind of a serial killer, that she has some, spontaneous instinct to understand the serial killer, but actually they just get rid of a misunderstanding. But how would you say it's important to have a female character understanding male violence?
That's a new question.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Who can understand this male violence? I can't. I don't know. I haven't thought so much about that. Saga understands male violence. Yeah. I don't have any answer.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any answer to that question.
Still with Hans, and in the third season, he is a victim. He's sent to the hospital in a coma, and he's going to die. And Saga is very close to her boss. He's a father figure for her, and she goes to the hospital, and he's lying on his bed, unconscious, and she understands that he's going to die. And the first thing she does is to hit him very hard. Why is that? Okay.
No, I think Hans wrote it otherwise to begin with, but I felt that it had to be something irrational and childish, something from desperation and fear and anger. So I came up with that, and he liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, because I had this understanding that she felt betrayed because he was dying. He was betraying her by dying, but I may be wrong.
No, it's not. I don't know if that's the intellectual version of it, but it means the same thing.
Yes.
That it's like a child missing her parent. Yeah.
Over the 4 seasons, she always wears the same clothes.
Yeah.
Greenish overcoat, leather pants, boots. She has something kind of mannish style. I mean, she's a woman, but she wears more or less like a man. Would you say? And at the same time, Martin is more on the feminine side, we could say. How is this, a good trick for a crime fiction to put some male characteristic into a woman and to put some female characteristic into a man?
I guess there are many people on this planet who have both sides. I mean, I think we all have. And I always say to writers that you should always first write the script and then switch men and women around, write it once again and see what happens, because it's always puts something interesting into the dialogue, because we are much more complex than just man and woman. It's much more complex than that.
And she has this, when she wants an overnight relationships or sexual relationship, she goes to a bar, pick up a guy, and without anything further, she says, okay, let's have sex. And the men were really confused. They found it hard to adapt or to cope with such a behavior. But that makes the character, kind of
But
unique.
how can she otherwise get sex? So she can't connect. She can't come close to people. She cannot do that game. So how could she get sex otherwise? And to her, it's not a problem. So it's a very practical way of solving a problem.
Yes. It is. And when Martin. When the actor Kim Bodnia, who plays Martin, decided to leave the show at the end of the second season, the producers and the creator had to bring someone else into the show, and it was Henrik Sabro, who is with Criminal Police in Copenhagen too. How would you compare the relationship between Saga and Martin, and then the relationship between Saga and Henrik,
Yeah.
above the fact that they ended up being lovers.
Yeah, with Martin, he's got a kind of normal life, family, everything is going well on the outside at least. So she can't connect with him in the same way. That when then we had the luck to have this wonderful character, Henrik, we could add a person who was as fucked up as Saga, as lonely as her, as I mean, who would want to have a relationship with a person who has 2 children and a wife who's lost? I mean, what can you add to that person's life? How can you comfort a person like that? How can you be sure that his wife and children won't show up a day and just say, this is my husband? And I mean, he's in a trap and she's also in a trap. So they can be in the same trap. Yeah, yeah. So that's a wonderful solution.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Can you, I would like just you to share your feeling about this relationship between Saga and her mother.
Ew, that's, I mean, it's a very, very traumatic relationship since she's a very sick person who's in denial. So she can feel nothing but fear and hate, I think, towards her.
Because the thing is, Saga is accusing her mother to be responsible for the suicide of her young sister, Jennifer, and the mother was using, you know, the syndrome of Munchausen by proxy, and her sister committed suicide when they were teenager. Is this one of the reasons why Saga has some hard times to get along with women? Apparently, in the show, she get along pretty well with men, more or less, but she finds it hard to get along with women. I
think I never thought about it like that, but I think it's easier. The tradition of behaving in between men, I think, suits her better than the tradition to behave in between women. So that's maybe also the reason.
She has Saga also has some violence in her. I mean, she can shoot without.
She's the police. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you must work with something else.
I guess so, but I had this feeling that either Martin and Henrik were more, not so much violent, I guess. But maybe
I don't see her as a character who loves violence.
No, she does not lie, but she can use.
Yeah, she has access to it in her. Yeah, she has.
Like she's not afraid to do that.
No.
Would you say the purpose of her job, is it to bring justice to the victim or to catch the killer? Apparently the victim are not so much...
I think the purpose is to make everything, to make sure that everything is all right, that no one's getting hurt anymore, that everything is all right. So that haunts her all the time.
And we see that she has very difficult... it's hard for her to connect with her mother because her mother was a very nasty person. And at the same time, we have this feeling that Saga is in an endless quest for love. Would you say the show is also love?
Yeah.
Would you say it's also about this show is crime fiction, of course, but is it also a love story? Love story?
Yeah, that's when I understood how deeply lonely she is. I understood that her main goal in life is to get love, although she doesn't know it herself.
Yeah. And
so it is, to me, it's a love story completely. To be honest, I've forgotten about the crime cases. I don't remember it anymore.
Which are very graphic. I mean, the violence is very graphic.
Yeah.
And you see corpses and cut in the middle.
But that's and that's not anything that makes me. It doesn't make me thrilled or something to do scenes like that. I always say that my most boring days at set is when I have to sneak around with a gun. I think that's really boring.
Yeah, I guess so. And the creator of the story pushed the button quite far, because in this third season, Marie-Louise, Saga's mother, decided to set up her own suicide to make her daughter found guilty of murder. Saga hasn't done anything. She's not guilty of anything. But Marie-Louise has such a twisted mind that she decided to kill herself and make it look like she was murdered by Saga. All along the fourth season, there's many social topics which are dealt with. Would you say it's also a crime fiction? It's a love story, and is it also a social critique of Scandinavian society of today?
I think about the world in general, but it's increased during the seasons. First season was about I don't even remember anymore.
It was
that's crazy.
About homeless people.
Yeah, that's true. So I think they have made it even more and more through the seasons, and this season, season 4, is where they've done it the most. So, and I think that's very. It's a good way to communicate. I mean, we are entertainers,
yes,
but we can also communicate about the fears of the world, and. This season, the theme was a lot about identity and who is allowed to be in the community, and who is supposed to be pushed out, and who are you if you're not what you say you are or what you think you are. So for me, very interesting topic.
Because you have in Sweden 2 very famous writers. I'm not sure I'm going to say their name well, but you will correct me. They are a wife and her husband. They are Maj Sowell.
Oh yeah, the ones. Yeah, what about them?
They were famous. That's 2 writers, a wife and her husband, and they wrote about 10 or 12 books, and it's all about saying that they are all crime fictions, and it's all about saying that the violence inside, they are using the violence linked to the criminal investigation, to show that the society doesn't work well. Actually, violence is the symptom of something not working well. And would you say that the creator of the show were inspired by that? Because they are very influential in Sweden.
Yeah, of course they have been influenced by them, because they have been very dominant in our country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes.
I think they are translated in French, and
yes.
if you can find the books in here, I would recommend to read them. This third season has very strong female character. It's about a woman who fake pregnancy, and there is also is it also a picture of a Scandinavian society where we have this idea here in the southern of Europe that Scandinavian countries are more egalitarian, or rights are much more respected, women are can say what they want. Would you say that's...
You mean that we are more equal than you are here?
We do have this idea, but we may be wrong.
I don't know. I think we are one of the top 3 countries in the world who are most equal between gender. Even though the last year showed with the big Me Too movement in Sweden, and Scandinavia showed that it's when it comes to the laws, it's very good, but in reality, it doesn't work like that. So I think the reason why the Me Too movement became so big in Sweden, because it's been It's been in another way than in other countries. We have made manifestos, and we have come together. So it's hundreds of thousands of women who are saying, no, stop harass us. So, and I think the reason why we are so strong and powerful in that area is because we already have a platform for it. Yeah. If you stay at home and you don't have any identity of your own, and you don't have self-confidence, you're not raising your voice and saying, stop, don't harass me anymore.
You're involved in the Me Too movement. Can you tell us a bit more about what you're doing? What are the initiatives you're doing?
Yeah, as I said, it started with the actors in Sweden as well, and that we came together and said we should write something about it. And when we did that on Facebook, it was like a fire. It just went like a boom, and we had so many testimonies about this subject, and so we had to write something about it. And then we wrote a manifesto, and it was published in a big newspaper, and then it was spread to the doctors. We had after a couple of weeks, we had 10,000 doctors, 4,000 lawyers. So it just and the prostitutes and the people who work with logistics, and all the businesses got together. Women in all the businesses got together and made a testimony, anonymous, without naming names, just saying, this is what happens to me at work every day. And then just saying, can you please stop? Just like that. So, and that spread even to Norway and Finland and Denmark. And then I know that we have some Swedish actresses who brought the ideas of that to Hollywood, and they did this Time's Up thing. So it's like the women in all the world are coming together in this sense. And I know, I've heard in India they are also coming together. The middle class women are going together. So it's a very happy for everybody. I think also for the men, of course, because we want to communicate. We want to be together, not apart.
And did you get some support from men, or is it mainly?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was at home. I had in my phone so many testimonies from women just writing on Facebook, this happened to me, and this and this and this and this. And I asked my husband, what should I do? What can we do? We can't go out to the press naming names. We can't start pointing fingers at men. We can't, what shall we say? What shall we do? And he said, this is like when you tear down the Berlin Wall. You just have to take it down. You just have to publish it. Just have to say it. So I think that's a good support.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. And did you see the thing changing a bit, or
it's changing so much?
Did it improve?
Yes. Yes. It happens. It's so much going on, and it's amazing that the actresses, we are invited to all the bosses to tell them how the reality is, and then they ask us how shall we move on. And it's also a matter of representation when it comes to race and gender and age, that we have to have a better picture of the reality also on screen and on stage, because otherwise we can't identify ourselves with the audience can't identify themselves with the story.
Now the show is over. I mean, it's, the fourth season has been broadcasted. What are your feelings about all these 10 years you spent being Saga Norén?
My feeling is that I'm relieved. I instantly went to cut my hair off, and I'm looking forward to new adventures. People ask me, are you going to miss her? But I can talk to her whenever I want. So there is no reason for me to miss her. So I'm happy and proud.
What was it your best character? Or?
No, I'm going to do much more characters.
Of course.
So I don't know. You have to ask me when I'm going to die.
No, I'm not going to do that. Thank you very much, Sofia.
Thank you.